Hello everyone, my name is Nilen. Today I'm going to explain you the concept of blockchain. Blockchain is something which I would like to tell you that it is nothing, it is just a digital ledger of the transactions which basically are distributed across the entire network of the computer systems. So, for example, if you have a data copy or a file that is only going to be accessed or controlled by one person. So, there are chances that that particular data will going to be hacked or destroyed. So to overcome that problem, what will happen? This the concept of blockchain came into the picture, which is nowadays going to be utilized across everywhere. It is utilized in the medical domain as well as in the cryptocurrencies as well, as you can see this. So digital ledger is often described as a chain that's actually made up of individual blocks of data. So what is this blocks now? So blocks are nothing. It is just a kind of, you can say that, a collection of the several interconnected nodes, which is also known as blocks. Now each block is having a data as well as hash and previous hash. So the previous hash actually stores the hash value of the previous node or block. Now I'm going to explain you this particular concept practically by using the JavaScript. So without wasting your time, I would like to start the code now. Yeah. So let me just save this particular file first. So I'm going to give the name like main.js. So this is the JS file that I'm created inside a folder which I just created by name as blockchain demo. So first of all, I would like to open the CMD so that we can perform the operations here. Now, the first thing that I would like to tell you to start the coding, that you will have to install the node in your in your system first, so that you will be able to run the application. Just like I have the node version like 16.0.0, which I just installed. And one more thing before going to start, as I told you that each block of data is having a hash value that is going to be generated. So to create the hash value, we will have to use SHA-256. So SHA is something which I would like to tell you. Before going to jump into that, I want to tell you that how you can install that SHA. So with the help of npm, so there is a package called crypto.js that you have to install it. So you simply have to write down crypto-js and you can just copy this, go to the CMD, paste it here, and you have to install this. So this particular package is very much required because what will happen? You have to generate the hash value, and to generate the hash value, you have to install this particular library. Yeah. So what actually this particular library provides us, it will provide us the SHA-256. SHA is something which is basically the secure hash algorithm 256-bit, and it's basically used for cryptographic security. So cryptographic security is very important in the blockchain. So to do that, we first have to install it. Now let me start the coding. So as you can see this, we have to create two things. First will be like the block, which I just told you that block is very important, and the second will be like the blockchain. So first of all, I'm going to import the SHA which I just created. I just installed by using the npm. So I'm just importing it. So I just import it first so that I can utilize and create the hash value. And now there are two classes which we have to create. First one will be like the block, and second one will be like the blockchain. So first of all, we have to write down the code to generate the block. Then we are going to jump into the blockchain. Now, before going to write down the code, first thing that I would like to tell you, there is one block which is also known as Genesis block. So every blockchain is having the first block, and the first block where the actual blockchain will going to be started is known as Genesis block. So we will going to tell you about it as well in future. So first of all, what you have to do, you have to create a constructor. The reason why we are doing this, because there are several things that we have to uh, utilize again and again, such as each block is having, as I told you, the data, the hash, and previous hash. So I'm going to write down index. First thing is index. Second thing is timestamp. You can do that. Timestamp. Then data. Then there is previous. And give us like this as well. Okay. So I have to make it like hash. Now this dot index equals to index timestamp to be like timestamp. Now the very important thing is here is the hash, which I just told you that hash is very important. So what and how we can create the hash? So we just imported this cryptographic security, this particular npm package. So with the help of that, we will going to create this hash. And before going to tell you how we can create it, first of all, I would like to tell you that we will have to call a particular function here, and the operation will going to be done here as well. So we are going to calculate cal hash. I'm just writing down the empty function which I'm going to call it from here. This is not hash. It is going to provide us the hash value. Now, how we can create this? Now, I'm going to write down the return, and there is a syntax. So, first of all, which I'm just writing down this, and there is a function. So, inside this function, SHA256, the constant which I created above, I'm going to write down the index and plus this dot timestamp plus. So, this thing is very important because to manage the security of each and every block, we will have to generate the hash. And the best thing about the hash is that, as I told you earlier as well, that the previous hash and the hash will going to be connected between the two blocks, which I'm going to show you after some time. Now, this previous hash index timestamp previous hash. Now you have to do the data. So this dot data, but what I'm doing, I'm just make it like JSON dot stringify. Convert it into a string. Stringify, I'm using it. Now what I'm doing, I'm just transforming it into to string. The entire operation which I'm just performing. So this is something which will give us the hash value. So this is on the class for the block only. Now I created the class called block. Now let's jump into the blockchain. How we can create the blockchain now. So before going to jump into it, I would like to tell you that I just told you about the Genesis block. So Genesis block is the first block of the blockchain that we in which we have to give the previous value like 0. Now I'm going to write down the constructor for this. Okay, inside this constructor, what will happen? As I told you that a kind of a chain will going to be created inside the blockchain, which is the collection of nodes as you can see this. So what we are doing, we just try to create a chain. So how it will going to be? It will be like the empty array first. After that, I'm going to tell you the next step. So the second thing which I just told you that we have to create one Genesis block. So I'll just write down the function for that. So Genesis block is something which will be created by value like I'm giving it like index is 0. So timestamp in timestamp I'm giving you the date as of now. So today is 12th of April 2022. Data will be like I'm giving like Genesis block. Yes, okay. And the previous value, which previous hash, which will be like a string, which I just mentioned here. So I'm passing it 0 here. Now this is something which is the Genesis block that we just created here, and we just call this block. So the constructor will going to run. And inside this constructor, there is a hash value which is going to be created with the help of this hash. Now this empty array, so we will have to do one operation here. That the first value that you have to pass inside this chain is this. It's created here. Now let's move ahead now. So there are two things. Now in this particular blockchain, I would like to add few more blocks. But before going to add it, I would like to tell you that we will have to get the latest block as well. So let me just write on the code for latest block, one function for the latest block. Another one will be for add new block. So let me just write down the code for this first. Return this dot chain this dot chain dot length minus one. So this is how you will get the latest block. So this will be like the array as I told you earlier as well. So whenever you want to get the latest block, you will have to minus it by one. The reason because the first block will be like the Genesis block which I already told you. Add block. Now I'm going to add a new block. So what will happen? We are just creating param here, passing the param, and in this what we are doing. Uh, so I'm going to make two things here: the previous hash and the hash, which is going to be associated with each and every block, as I already told you. The rest of the things will going to be changed. For example, if you created the object right, and you pass the value like different, like date will be different, indexing will be different, the data that you are going to pass will be different, but these things will be common. So I'm just creating the previous hash, and previous hash is something. The reason why I created this particular method, now you will get to know more about it. The previous hash, as I told you, will always be the hash value will always be the hash value of the previous block. Now this dot hash, this one. Okay. We will move forward. using this. Now, how the hash value of the new one will going to be created, which I already told you at the top, that there is a function that we created. With the help of that function, that will be like for the cryptographic security, we are going to be generated. Now these two things I am going to push inside the chain. Okay, so we are adding a new block. Okay, and these two things will be common, so I'm pushing it inside the chain. Now to get the latest block, we are writing down this particular code. We are doing the minus of one from the length of the chain. And what we are doing, we will get the hash value of the previous hash by using that. Now let's try to run it first. Let's see whether anything will work properly here or not. So what we are doing, so we are going to run it. So I'm going to give it like length coin. So I'm going to create an object for this class blockchain, and as the object is going to be created, so I'm going to call this particular method. Which particular method I'm going to call? First thing that I have to do is to add a block. Add new block. So the first thing that we have to do inside it, we called add new block. But what we have to do, we have to call new this block. We are going to pass the data. For example, I'm going to create an index called 1 because 0 is already there, which is known as the Genesis block that we did here. Similar thing I'm doing it here as well. So inside this I'm passing new block and the data. So the date will be like similar. Data will be like first block data. Okay, and data is there. First block data is there. The previous hash. Now let's see what will happen. Just pass these things because why I'm passing these three things only because as I told you that the previous hash and the hash is already there, which is injected in this particular. Now what will happen? Now we will check whether it is going to run properly or not. So first of all, let me just console this whether we are doing it properly or not. Console log. Now what I'm doing, I'm just checking it by using this dot Spotify, passing this. So this is the structure of JSON dot stringy file. So there are three parameters that we are passing inside it. Just to check the result. Now let's see. So what I have to do, node name this. As you can see this, the code that we just wrote, the chain is now going to be created. Inside the first chain will be like the first element will be like the Genesis block, which is having the previous hash 0 and the hash value that we generated with the help of cryptographic security, the npm package that we installed. Second one will be like the index one, the data will be like the first block data, previous hash. As you can see, there is this hash and this previous hash data will be similar. Okay, and this hash is the new hash which is going to be created now. So let me show you one more box so that everything will be clear to you how the blockchain concept will work. So the index will be like second, and it will be like second of data. Now let me rerun it. So as you can see this, there are first one with Genesis, second block, the third block. This previous hash will be similar to this hash, so they are locked, or you can say this, a chain is now going to be created in it. So I would like to tell you some more things about the validity of the chain and how you can manage the security in this, because there is always a threat the hackers will going to change the value of hash and the previous hash in each and every node. That is something which will be a loophole. But this practically is not possible. So there is a concept for that. I will tell you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching it. Take care.